Hello, I'm Kunal Davé and I am one of the senior Crown prosecutors on the RASO London South unit. I've been on the RASO unit since January 2018, and in that time I have dealt with many complex cases. One in particular was the case of Alexander Philo Steele, which the media have called the Peter Pan nanny case. Philo Steele was a male nanny and initially charged and accused of committing several sexual offences against a 6-year-old boy in 2016. He stood trial in June 2018 and was subsequently acquitted. However, later that same year, in October 2018, new allegations emerged of sexual abuse by Philo Steele against 2 boys aged 7 and 8. He was charged and there was significant work to do before the case was trial ready. In the course of my preparation, the investigative officers found a custody image of the suspect, which we initially thought was from his earlier arrest in 2016. However, this wasn't the case. The custody image was actually from 2003, and much to our astonishment, the arrest was for an allegation of an indecent assault against a 6-year-old boy. With this information to hand, I was keen to find out what had happened in 2003. Due to the age of the case, a lot of the documents were no longer available, and the police were only able to retrieve some of the material dating back that far. It was clear from my reading of the material that the offences alleged in 2003 had striking similarities with the allegations made in 2016 and in 2018, and I wanted to see if there was a way of incorporating those allegations into the current trial. In doing so, it was imperative to find out how and why the case had been discontinued. Despite extensive inquiries with external authorities, I was unable to get records dating back that far. The case had been discontinued at the Magistrates' Court and not the Crown Court, which made a material difference as to whether it was legally possible to revive the case. I needed to build this case, and my first step was to advise the police to trace the victim and see if he would be willing to support the prosecution, and if so, to take part in a further police interview, which he agreed to do. We also needed to be honest with him and manage his expectations that we needed to ensure that the legal tests were met before the case could move forward. We also traced the original officers involved through the Met Pensions Unit and obtained statements from them. I was able to build the case to the required standard, charge the suspect, and ensure that the courts had all of the material available to it to decide whether those charges could be included in the current trial. In addition, a bad character application was also made to reduce the acquittal from Philo Steele's previous trial, which was strongly opposed by the defence, but ultimately granted by the court. I have to say that this is rarely done, but I was determined to ensure that we could put forward the evidence from the allegations made in 2016. Due to the serious nature of the offences, I felt it was important that this evidence was made available to the jury to give an accurate picture of the defendant. Philo Steele stood trial and was found guilty on 11 counts of various sexual offences, including the offences dating back to 2003. He was sentenced to a term of 14 years imprisonment. Hopefully, this case demonstrates some of the complexities lawyers and investigators involved in a RASO case encounter, as well as the thinking approach that is taken and using the tools and resources to bring a successful prosecution.